We are now just under 6 months away from the release of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and as this film is often described as a revelation film with a lot of twists and turns and surprises coming our way by director J.J. Abrams, a lot of people are left scratching their heads as to whether or not these reveals are really going to top some of the other reveals in the past for the Skywalker saga. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So, as you all know, Rey is a very important character in the sequel trilogy by how Disney and Lucasfilm are setting her up to be in Episode 9. We do know that JJ went through a lot of changes for the script of Episode 9, as well as going through a lot of different obstacles in order to really make this story a very authentic film that will be used as a way of the culmination of the Skywalker saga that really serves as a sequel to not just Episode 7 and 8, but to the past 8 Star Wars movies in Star Wars in the franchise's history. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the plans by Disney, Lucasfilm, JJ, and crew, this is where things begin to get very intriguing for Episode 9. Now, what's really interesting about all of this is that it's described that during the rewrites of the film by director J.J. Abrams, Chris Terrio, and even George Lucas, that many pieces of the second and third act were adjusted and tweaked to better fit the new narrative of the story. It's described that George Lucas made many adjustments to Rey's lineage and her identity, as well as how it would be handled and should be handled, that her identity revealed is based off of and inspired by a mixture of popular aspects of the Star Wars expanded universe from the 1990s and early 2000s. Additionally, it's said that Rey's identity reveal also holds some original elements that were created from Colin Trevorrow's original script, now that were brought into the J.J. Abrams story itself of the film, since it had a great emotional impact and would take the audience by surprise. Rey's identity reveal is also said to be loosely based off of one of the George Lucas original key ideas of the character Kira, and a story that George had pitched to Disney for Episode 7 that was originally rejected, that is now being brought into the film itself. The rewrites of Rey's lineage and her identity reveal took around roughly 3 weeks to finalize during the months of late November into early December, while they were shooting and reorganizing the film as far as editing went to make the reshoots make more sense. So let's go over a couple of parts about this, because we do know that Episode 9 is going to be a very important film by Disney and Lucasfilm as companies. At the end of the day, when we look at Episode 9, it really is going to be a film that determines the Star Wars future, right? The future of the franchise itself when it comes to the new Star Wars trilogy, the live-action TV series that are in the works, you name it. I mean, look at what happened with the Solo: A Star Wars Story box office results, and how that literally made Disney and Lucasfilm cancel over 10 years worth of plans of Star Wars films. Just like that, so you can only imagine what would happen if Episode 9 does not meet expectations as far as box office results go for, of course, Disney and Lucasfilm. So moving on forward from all of this, alright, Rey's identity, very important piece of the movie. We do know that J.J. Abrams confirmed over at Celebration around 3 months ago that is going to be explored in greater depth in Episode 9 and is going to actually have an effect on the past 2 films. However, JJ would not admit or even say on whether or not it would really retcon the idea of her being a nobody that Rian Johnson implemented into Star Wars Episode 8. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, looking past all of this, alright, we do know that there have been a lot of hints and indicators that Rey is going to be something big in this movie, and that J.J. Abrams is going to continue exactly what he originally wanted to do with the sequel trilogy. I don't know if you guys knew this, but originally J.J. Abrams wanted something big to happen for the character of Rey with her identity reveal, and that's exactly what JJ is picking up on here now. Now, this could mean that she's either a clone or she's a reincarnation of a certain character. Maybe she's going to be important of something like that in that kind of sense, as opposed to a relative of, let's say, for example, Kenobi or Skywalker. But I digress. So the fact that George Lucas was involved with really, the whole entire way of how this would be structured, of Rey's identity being revealed in the story, as well as George Lucas using a lot of the expanded universe, also known as Star Wars Legends, which is, of course, a handful of stories from the 1990s into the early 2000s that were eventually put to the wayside by Disney and Lucasfilm when Disney bought Lucasfilm back in 2012. So you can really see how George Lucas is really trying to make Rey a special character, with great payoff at the very end of this movie that marks the end of the Skywalker saga itself. And that, I think, is something to truly look forward to, because as of right now, Rey, we know little to nothing about the character. I mean, at the end of the day, she doesn't even have a surname, right? We still don't know exactly what her true last name is in Star Wars Episode 9, and there's definitely a reason to all of that, is because they're hiding something. So with Episode 9 coming into play here, like I say, just under 6 months away, July is going to be when the marketing really comes into full swing here, and Episode 9 is really going to push itself into the marketing phase. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.